Hey, what's up, everybody? DFS Rico coming at you with my picks and insight for this MLB 12-game slate on Draftkings for Tuesday, August 11th. We have a 12-gamer, pretty good slate. Got some good pitching on the mound. We got some good bats. A lot of ways to go today. We got Coors Field on the slate, so a lot of people will be gravitating that way. But before I get into my picks and stuff, I will appreciate it if you like, comment, subscribe. I really appreciate it. Subscribe button right in the bottom right corner. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe. And if you want to sign up for Patreon for more of GPP plays, go over to the description. I should have my Patreon link in there. $10 a month. I provide like GPP videos for just videos, no spreadsheets or nothing, just more breakdown of the slate for my thought process and my theories and stuff. And for baseball, I specifically just go to like GPP pitchers and GPP stacks. And then for like, I've been doing NBA, I like to go position by position and go just do some of my favorite leverage and GPP plays. Then I was doing League of Legends video, but they're gone right now, so I will be focusing mainly on MLB and NBA for now. But yeah, I think that's it, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's get to it. So I'm going to go over two pitchers that I like and then two stacks that I'm really looking at. That's really all I'll be providing. Straight to it. I know some people just like it to get straight to it. They don't want to hear all the blabbering. So let's get to it. So I'm just going to run through the Vegas odds right now, looking at the run totals and stuff. Some pretty high ones. I mean, you got the Phillies at 4.91. You got the Yankees at 5.14. 4.85 for Chicago White Sox. 4.88 for the Nationals. I'm actually surprised the Mets are so high. 5 runs each for Tampa Bay and Boston, so that's interesting. You got the Twins and the Brewers. Coors Field with the Diamondbacks and the Rockies looking pretty high at 5.75 each. You got the Astros at 5.58. Angels at 4.92. Dodgers at 4.72. So pretty high scoring games. Obviously, a lot of ownership will go to this Arizona and Colorado Rockies game. But we'll get to that when we get to the bat stacks. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to it was on DraftKings and go over the pitchers. Up top, you got Max Scherzer at 10.8. Anytime I'm paying less than $12,000 for this guy, I'm probably going to play him. Really good price, really good pitcher. He's starting today. He had one start in his previous start Wednesday against the Mets due to a tweaked hamstring, but it looks like he's going to be playing today at 10.8. I mean, you can't go wrong with Scherzer. He's going against the Mets. Mets are a good team. They do have some strikeouts in that lineup as well. Scherzer in his 2 starts, 32 and 22 versus the Yankees, who looked good. Toronto, he dominated them. I don't see why he can't do the same thing to the Mets. But right around him, you got Wheeler, you got Dylan Bundy, you got Minor. And for only a little more, 1,000 more on average, I mean, you could pay for Scherzer. If you can find that $1,000, just pay up for him, man. He's well worth it. The only guy I would even really consider, just because of his K upside lately, is Dylan Bundy. But I do prefer Scherzer and cash and small GPP, which is what most of these plays will be, is cash and smaller GPPs. The bigger contest stuff will be on the Patreon. But yeah, so I'm going to be plugging in Max Scherzer, 10.8. Let's go over to the plate IQ. It's going against the New York Mets. Have not shown that. So this is for this season. They've shown some decent numbers, decent ISO, decent WOBA versus righties. But I'll usually always take the pitcher over the bats. 34.5% strikeout rate, 6.4 walk rate. Very good versus righties. Decent versus lefties. He's a lot better versus righties, but his strikeout rate is still 29% and higher. He might struggle with some of these lefties. You got like Nimmo, McNeil, Converto. You got some good lefties in this lineup for sure. But you also got a bunch of guys that strike out a lot. They strike out 21% as a team. Sorry about that. 21% as a team. Scherzer's very good at striking guys out. As long as he doesn't come in and tweak his hamstring again or something like that, I think he should be in line for a good game. I just like him. I like him in his matchup as well. He has a decent matchup. I just like the upside that he provides. He probably has the biggest upside on the slate as far as pitchers. Consistent upside, at least. I mean, like I said, Dylan Bundy's the only one I would compare to him, and he's shown 41 point upside, but consistently, Scherzer's done it in and day out, so I'd rather just take my chances with him in cash and small GPP. And if you miss out on him in those contests and he goes off, you're probably going to lose. honestly, you're going to probably be too far behind as far as your pitchers. So I do like him in this matchup a fairly good amount. Scherzer's the first guy I'll be plugging in. Going over to DraftKings, I mean, you got some good pitchers: Mike Minor, Lester, Gallen, and Coors Field. It's at 8.6. Usually the Coors Field guys get priced down. Tucson, Montgomery, Stripling at 7.9. You got some good pitchers around in Montgomery, Tucson. Gio Gonzalez hasn't been looking good. Belock. But Stripling's the guy I'm going to talk about. 7.9. Pitched this matchup last time out. 18 fantasy points against him, 7 Ks. He's shown us some good strikeout upside now that they're actually giving him the innings, the pitches. 92, 86, and 92. We know last season or seasons before they used to really pull him early and stuff like just a couple innings, but different management this time around. So they are letting him, they're stretching him out there. And 7.9, I do like him. I like pairing him up with Scherzer, but I think a lot of people will be. I think that's going to be like the cash small GPP combo, Stripling and Scherzer. I'd rather pay up for pitchers and bats because pitchers are a little more consistent. You can kind of predict, not predict, but you can kind of, more often than not, you can predict what they're going to bring to the table. Hitters, I mean, like I said, you can always pick the best team. You could pick Coors Field and they can go out there and hit 2 runs total as a team, as a game. Like, that's just the thing. Pitching is, I feel a little more confident spending up in pitching just because I feel like they're a little more consistent than bats. So that's why we'll be paying up for pitchers and finding my way around with bats. But like I said, going against the Padres, pitched this matchup 3.80 xFIP, 24% strikeout rate, 5. He's very good at everything practically. He's just a good pitcher. He's not going to be a 40 point guy, but he's gonna get you some good numbers. He's just a good pitcher. He's gonna stay in the game. He's a righty. Faces the best. One thing I always say, the best players on this team are righties. You got Tatis, Machado, Pham. Those are their 3 best hitters in my opinion, and then followed by Grisham. But the righties are in this lineup. 31% strikeout rate for Tatis, 20 for Machado, 25 for Grisham. Then you got Hosmer and Myers. 24.3% strikeout rate for this team. Should be a good game as long as Stripling can stay afloat and stay in the game. I don't see why he can't get us about 20 fantasy points again. So I do like him in this matchup at 7.9K, a fairly good amount. Like I said, it's really just the K upside with this guy and the fact that he's a good pitcher. He's just a good all-around pitcher, and I like him because of that. So I will be plugging him in. Next thing we're going to talk about is my stacks that I like. I'm just going to go through 2 stacks that I'm really looking at. Let's go over to Arizona as the first one. You're going to want to play Coors Field in some way. I think Arizona is in a better spot than the Rockies. Between Kyle Freeland and Zach Gallen, I think Zach Gallen is the better pitcher. So Rockies will go lower owned than Arizona due to that. They are priced higher too, so just be wary of that. If you want a piece of Coors Field, you can play Arizona for cheaper. Some of their bats are just cheaper, and they're playing in Coors Field, so everybody's numbers get a little elevated, you know. So I will be going to Arizona. Obviously, the main guy you're going to want to play is Ketel Marte. He's their best hitter, most consistent hitter. He's been looking fairly good this season. Not as good as last year. I don't even think he's hit a home run, has he? He's hit 1 home run. Hasn't looked as good as last season, but he's still good. I don't see no reason to why you wouldn't play him. So just looking at his WOBA versus lefties and ISO, 0.275 ISO, 0.403 WOBA, a lot of pop. His hard hit rate's good. His contact is very good. And leading off, he is the priciest guy. They've been playing Tim LeCastro a little more. I don't know how confident I feel that he starts. They have him batting second, followed by Marte and Walker. They got some good righties in this lineup for sure with a lot of pop, like especially Walker. He strikes out a good amount, 23.7, but they have some good pop. At the end of this lineup, you can pay down for some of these guys like Kelly or Ahmed that still have some good ISO and WOBA versus lefties. Kyle Freeland does struggle versus righties. You just see the big gaps between lefties and righties, and that's usually what I like to target. His hard hit rate, 26% compared to 43% versus righties. His soft rate goes down. The big gap, 27.7 between hard hit and soft contact. His ground balls are a little better and his line drives, but his strikeout rate is a lot worse, 8% less. His WOBA and his ISO bumps up a lot. He has a lot of trouble versus righties and in Coors Field. I mean, you got guys, you're going to have about 6 guys up top that can bat as righties. You're going to have about 8 guys that are going to be in righties. That's going to give Freeland a lot of trouble at home. So I am going to be looking at picking on him with some of these some of these Arizona guys. And obviously, like I said, I like Marte. Just scrolling down, I mean, like I said, you got a Met at 4K that you could pay down for. Hasn't been the best. The last 2 games, he's actually looked very good if you look at these numbers. He should be batting like 8th or 9th. And then you got the catcher Kelly at 3.9. So you are getting price bumps on all these guys. I get it. But if you don't even want to play a stack of them, you just want to play pieces, I would obviously start with Marte, Walker, and for savings, probably Ahmed is the guy I would go with. Those are the 3 priorities. If I was only to play pieces of this game, I'd probably start with like this right here. And I think that's a good spot because you are going to be pretty thin with 3.6. But the next stack I am going to give you that you could pair them up with is Detroit. Let's bounce over to plate IQ. You got Detroit going against Gio Gonzalez. They're projected at, let me see what it was, 4.65 implied run total. Gio Gonzalez has not looked good this season. Let's go over to the pitchers. Gonzalez, I mean, who knows? He could turn it on today for all we know, but at 7.7, nah. He hasn't looked good. 1 fantasy point versus Milwaukee, 15.5 versus Kansas City, negative 3.8 versus Minnesota. He's played some decent offenses. Detroit isn't the best offense, but I mean, you got guys up top that have been very good versus lefty. You see that Wolba and ISO for Goodrum, Scoop, and Cabrera up top. Very good going back to last season. A lot of hard hit rate, a lot of contact. Candelario's in the lineup now, and he's pretty cheap as well. I think he's like 2.3. He's going to be batting 4th in this lineup. That's just a free square in my opinion. Where are they at? So let's go over to the Detroit bats. I mean, you got him at 2.3. If he's going to be batting 4th, I'm plugging him in. Bumps me back up to 3.96. And the most expensive guy on this team is 4K for Jonathan Scoop. And he's been good all season. But I do prefer Goodrum. I know I have a Met in there, but you could plug in Goodrum for $100 cheaper. Even Cabrera at 2.4K. This already bumps you down enough. Like you're back at 4.3. You can go back and pair up some of these Arizona guys. Cabrera hasn't looked good this season, I get it, but he has 4 home runs. And at 2.4K, if he's going to give me that upside for a home run in this matchup, I'll gladly take that. Candelario has looked good since he stepped in the lineup. He's been looking very good these last couple games. Over the last 4 games, over 17 plus fantasy points, 3 out of the 4. And like I said, he's going against Gio Gonzalez, not the best pitcher, a lefty, and he's very good versus versus lefties. If you look at his stats mainly this season, look at his WOBA and his ISO, his hard hit rate, his contact is very good. Gio has really been struggling versus lefties and righties. Just both sides of the plate he's been struggling against, not really striking. He's striking out 9% less, 11% less righties than lefties. So you're going to want to play Goodrum, Scoop, Cabrera, Candelario. They got some guys up here that can really hit the ball very well. If you don't want to stack them, obviously you could play pitcher pieces. I probably prefer Cabrera and Candelario the most because they are 2.3K. They're very cheap, so I don't see an issue with playing them. Just as one piece, like as a piece, you know, like you don't have to stack them. But I think that's really it, guys. Hopefully you guys like this video. Hopefully you guys take some of this out of this. Let me know how you guys do. Thank you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate it.